How y'all doing? Armageddon here again, guys. Today I'm here making a support video / contest entry to SoulSurvivorX2's subscriber appreciation giveaway, Gunner Cash. You choose which one you want. So it's Mike and Cindy's contest over at SoulSurvivorX2, and what they want us to do, well, you have a chance to win a Ruger 9mm SR9-C, I believe it is, or $250 in cash. So if you're a person who's not able to legally own a firearm, you live in a different country, you're underage, you've got a criminal background, instead of getting a pistol, you're able to get the $250 cash. Me, I want the pistol. Anyway, what they want you to do is make a video showing how to do something, teaching people stuff. So I was thinking about it and wasn't real sure what I was going to do my video on. I try to put out a lot of educational videos, but some of my videos, well, number one, I don't want to repeat something I've done before, new video, and the next thing is I want to make sure this is something beneficial to the entire community here on YouTube. I thought about like breaking down the bolt of the different rifles, a video on that, like how to break down the bolt of a Mosin Nagant, or clean an AR-15, something like that. I don't think it's beneficial to everyone here on YouTube because, if you're lucky enough to live in a country where you're allowed to have guns, yeah, that's good for you. But not everybody has that. And this video is open up to everyone, so I want to make sure that my video response is good for everyone. Considering they do a lot of prepping videos, I also wanted to do something geared around prepping, being prepared, preparedness. Also, because winter's coming, I think that this is also a really good time to put out this video. And what I'm going to do is show you how to split wood. Sounds simple enough, but I don't know. Not everybody knows how to split wood. Not everybody burns wood. Those who do burn wood might actually buy their wood rather than split it themselves. So I thought maybe this would be something good for a grid go down situation, some valuable information to have. Now, this isn't a survival skill per se, like out in the woods, because you're not going to be carrying all the stuff that we have here to make a fire in the woods. This is basically at home. Grid went down. We lost all of our primary services, electricity, oil, heat, things like that. So you need to burn wood in order to survive. And since I've grown up burning wood, grown up splitting wood, thought I'd show you how I do it at any rate. I usually use a 35-ton hydraulic log splitter when I do this, but as a kid we didn't have that, so we didn't use that. So I'm going to show you the old-fashioned way of how we go about splitting wood. Couple things you should have. First off, hand protection, eye protection, and foot protection. Good boots. These are steel-toed. Nice leather boots will work out well as well, but I like the steel-toed boots myself. Alright, what else you might need is something like this, an axe. Have an old wood-handled axe like this. This was my grandfather's. Or you could have one of the new polymer fiberglass handled axes here. Like I got an Ace True Value. However, an axe is better for chopping down a tree than it is for splitting wood. If you have nice small dry wood, axe does fine. What you'll 9 times out of 10 going to want is a splitting maul. A nice heavy splitting maul. This is, I forget, this is an 8-pound splitting maul. However, splitting mauls don't always work. The wood I got out here, it's not working for this. This wood, I was having trouble with the 35-ton splitter. Well, not having trouble, because it went right through it, but it took it time. It was slow. But you could definitely tell it was going to be a pain in the butt to split these by hand. So another important thing to have, wedges. I recommend a nice heavy steel wedge. They make plastic wedges nowadays. I don't like the plastic wedges. They're nice and light if you're taking them out and splitting stuff, I don't know, out in the woods. But to have around the house, have a nice heavy iron steel splitting wedge. The problem with the plastic wedges is in cold weather, they tend to crack and chip and break. So if you get to freezing or below freezing, you are liable to break your wedge if you're trying to split wood. It's not freezing, but still, this is what I have, this is what I use. Alright, so let me show you a few things first. Alright, show you a couple of things I learned from my grandfather. If you take a look at the wood there, if you can see, it's got cracks in it. This is cracks made by my split and maul. But it's got natural cracks in it. What you want to do when you're splitting wood is find the biggest crack and try to go right down through that. The wood wants to split apart already. So what you want to do is take advantage of the natural cracks in the wood already, and it makes it a lot easier to split them. Every piece of wood's got a natural crack in it. Take a look at that piece of wood. It's got an X in it. You could probably use either one of those two deep X's and split across them. I have another piece of wood to show you. Here's another piece of wood, a little drier. It's got cracks in it. So what you want to do, you want to try and split along that long crack right there. Even this giant piece of wood over here, it's got a crack in it. Right here, that's the crack you're going to want to follow with this. This one's actually a pain in the butt though. As you can see, there's actually has two cores in it. So this was two trees that actually grew together. So it's got a split here for this piece, but a split here for that. But because this is going to be your main split, this is off to, you want to kind of keep it in the center more, and this is going to take off a big chunk for you. This is going to be a pain in the butt to do by hand or by machine. I was probably in the whole way the whole time doing that, but anyway. So there you go. Here's some more big chunks of wood. You know, they all got cracks in them. You want to follow those cracks. You don't have to, but it makes it a lot easier. All right. Now, if you have a nice small piece of wood that's pretty dry and you want to split it for some reason, an axe will work out fine. Something like this. This size piece of wood. You'd definitely be able to split that with an axe. But honestly, for my wood stove, I don't need that piece of wood any smaller, so I don't need to split it. When you start getting the bigger pieces of wood, you know, things like this, you're going to use a splitting maul. Got the Amish driving by. Yep, I live in Amish country. Anyway, they could show us how to do this too. Anyway, so a piece of wood that size, you're going to want your splitting maul. It might take a couple whacks to split that, but you should be able to split that pretty easy with a splitting maul. And I'll give it a try. Why not? There you go. Split it with the maul. I don't know if I need to show you how to split wood. I'm not a professional wood splitter or axe handler, but basically you're splitting wood. I want to start like this. Bring it up over your head. You can bring it behind you if you want. You don't have to. I usually bring it behind me. But you want to have a nice wide stance. And when you come down, you want to bend your knees. Not quite as deep as that, but whatever is comfortable. But basically what you want to do is you want to make sure your axe stays vertical. Okay? You don't want to go down like this and have your axe coming like this, because let's say you miss that piece of wood, it's going to go right into you. That's why you bend your knees. Kind of come down and bend your knees. That way, if going into the ground, and the ground's going to stop it. That's a little safety thing. Like I said, I'm sure there's plenty of places out there where you can find information about how to properly use an axe or a split and maul. It's just a small tidbit I'm giving you. I'm more showing you the equipment and how to use it. But not how to use it, but in what way you can use it. Alright, so the first split weakens the wood. So after this, if we want to make this smaller, you can use your axe. Your axe should work now. Of course, watch it not work. And the only reason you'd want to switch is just to maybe conserve energy. Because using that 8-pound maul kind of gets tough. But there you go. That is split. But just, you know, to prevent fatigue, it's a little nicer using this, I don't know what this is, 2 or 4 pound axe, than to use the 8-pound split and maul. But let's see what that would do on a big piece of wood. We got our piece of wood here, got our axe, just to show you. See, it does kind of crack it. As you can see, there is a little extra crack there now. But you're not splitting it. You're going to have to do that way too many times in order to split that wood. You're going to have to take way too many swings to split that wood. And 9 times out of 10, your axe gets caught. That actually came out pretty easy though. Now the split and maul, I might be able to crack that with the split and maul because I hit it with the split and maul once. Then I hit it with the axe. So I might actually be able to split it completely with this split and maul. We shall see. Let me move my axe handle. Well, did a little better job, but it did not split it. One more whack probably ought to have it though. Yep. There you go. Now, that's what you can use your maul for, what we can use our axe for. That's the ultimate preppers right there, folks. That's how you do it, the old-fashioned way. Now, folks, every once in a while, come across a piece of wood that doesn't want to be split by an axe or by a maul. That's when you want to get out your wedges. Now, your wedges will help you out a lot, because if you think in a scenario where the grid's completely down, you know, there's no utilities and there's no grocery stores and things like that. There's no oil to heat your homes, no electric to heat your homes. A lot of people are going to be turning back to wood. There's a lot of people that have fireplaces in their house, but they don't use them, you know, they're there for aesthetics. But if the grid ever goes down, those people are going to then be wanting to use those fireplaces in order to keep themselves warm in the winter. So it's important for you to realize that, because let's say you live near a wooded area, you have trees on your own property. How long do you think, let's say a half-acre wooded lot or an acre wooded lot, how long is that going to last in a cold winter when your primary heating source and cooking source is now fire? Some of you that are lucky enough to live in coal regions will have coal, hopefully, to use. But the majority of people are going to have to turn back to wood. And let's say you even have a large forested area near you, and you think, well, I'll never need to split things like this because I'll be able to find pieces of wood like this all the time. I'll never need to split a big piece of wood. I can just use things like these. I can saw them with my pruning saw or my tree saw or whatever, that SoulSurvivorX, whatever it is, cut them up and I'll put them right in my fireplace. That's all well and good, but you got to realize is everybody else wants to do the same thing. So that means small pieces of wood are going to go fast. And what you're going to be left with is a lot of big pieces of wood that nobody else can process. Either because they don't have the technical know-how, they don't have the equipment to do it, or they're just too lazy or old or somehow injured and they can't do it. So they're going to be picking up all the twigs, all the small pieces of wood that they can. All the limbs that fall down in the storm are going to be snagged up quick. And what you're going to be left with is big trunks. A lot of great wood in those trunks. You just got to be able to get them down to usable sizes. Which is where your wedge comes into play. Now, we talked about the splits earlier. This one's all cracked up. It looks like our biggest one is right here, or maybe here, but I'm going to go with this more central one. I'm just going to put my wedge right in that crack. I'm going to use my split maul because I don't have a sledgehammer. It'd be best to have a sledgehammer, but I don't own one. Something I need to invest in. But a split maul will work just as well. And it's pretty simple to use. Put it in the crack, hammer it down a little bit, because these things have a tendency every once in a while, if you get a stubborn piece of wood, or even it's a piece of wood that's starting to break on you or break for you, as you get down it might hit a tight spot and this whole thing will bounce out. Especially when you're first starting it in. So that's why you want to hammer it in a little bit first. And then, once you get it in where you're comfortable, then you power it through. Ooh. There you go. Then, those are some of the basic tools that you ought to need, that you will need to split up wood. A couple axes, split maul, a wedge. I actually recommend having a couple different wedges. Why is because if you go to tackle things like this, as you can see, I was just trying to hand split this earlier, so I didn't feel like going to get the wood splitter. When you stick your wedges in the middle of something like this, it's, as you can see, it's just so big. It's kind of soft in the center, but really hard around the outside. And this particular piece of wood's pretty wet, so it's just kind of absorbing the blow. It's just kind of squishing the middle inside on itself, and it's not actually splitting. This is a pain in the butt. So the best way to attack a larger piece of wood like this that just doesn't want to split is with multiple wedges, and say you put like a wedge near the edge here, hammer it down in, put a wedge over here, hammer it down in. Try to follow the line of the crack once again, and you're going to need 1 or 2 or maybe even 3, put one in the center as well, and use 3 different wedges to actually split this piece of wood. So yep, there you go. I hope this is an acceptable entry. Hope this is an acceptable entry into your contest, Mike and Cindy. I'm quite tired, so I'll put some effort into it. I'm pretty tired, so I did put some effort into it for you. But yeah, that's basically it. You guys think about some of the things I was talking about. If we ever do have a grid go down situation and you're like, you know, what's the likelihood of that happening? I don't know. They're talking about Israel and their new EMP weapons. We got the sun and the sunspots and the solar flares that could create an EMP. You know, we don't know what might happen. So it's just good. What if you're in a really bad ice storm? They happen all the time where people are out of electricity for weeks. You know, real bad ice storm, you're out of electricity for a week, and sub-zero, you know, sub-freezing temperatures. These are things you want to be able to do so that you can keep your family warm, keep them fed, keep them safe. Alright, that's about all I got for you guys. Everybody, if you haven't checked out SoulSurvivorX or Soul Survivor ×2 or X2, that's Mike and Cindy. Go check them out. I'll put a link down here in the description, and hope you all have a great day. Hope you all learned a little something. Peace. All right, Mike and Z signing out.